You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
Yeah.
We've talked for years about things like digital scarcity, but here's something profoundly physical. The sheer power demand from all these new AI systems, it's
Yeah.
putting so much pressure on the U.S. power grid that we're seeing this massive, rapid expansion
Yeah.
of gas plants just to keep the lights on.
Right.
That's not some future problem. That's a right now problem.
Yeah.
And it connects to, well, every single product decision we're all making.
It connects because that physical constraint, the energy, is now directly tied to this strategic constraint in how you build products. We've been looking at a whole collection of recent observations from the field, and the main thing is, the ground is shifting really, really fast.
Okay, so our mission here today is to pull out the most valuable strategic takeaways from all this material. Not just, here's a new AI tool, but why these huge shifts in resources and even customer trust are fundamentally changing the job of anyone in product. This is the kind of stuff I just love digging into, especially how it plays out in interaction design, which is something we get into a lot on Vocal Technologist.
And we can really frame this whole landscape not as a race for more features, but as a race for genuine intelligence. It's about moving beyond just grabbing data and shuffling it around. That market is, frankly, getting saturated and a little boring.
Which brings us to a concept in the material that I found really powerful. They call it producer theory. Can you sort of walk us through that? What does it mean to be a producer in this context?
Absolutely. So the products that are going to win, the ones that will really command value, are the ones that produce fresh intelligence. They don't just combine and redistribute information that's already out there.
Okay, so what's the trend right now?
The trend is startups just layering agents on top of other agents, adding more public data, licensing the same data sets to give their tools a bit more context.
And what happens when everyone is just licensing the same 5 data sets?
You get an echo chamber, a massive information echo chamber. The tools start learning from each other's information, or even worse, from data that was generated by some other AI.
So you're not getting anything truly new.
Nothing. You're not getting novel, defensible insights. The products that succeed will be the true producers, the ones injecting something genuinely new into the system, not just, efficiently redistributing the old stuff.
That idea of strategic scarcity, the scarcity of fresh intelligence, is so perfectly mirrored by the physical scarcity you mentioned right at the top, the energy.
It is. The price of all that processing is just astronomical. The growth in power demand from data centers is a huge headwind. We're talking projections that go way beyond what renewables can reliably cover in the short term.
And the reality on the ground is what?
The reality is that only natural gas can scale up fast enough to meet that surge. So you need grid expansion with gas-fired generation right now just for stability and affordability, while the long-term green infrastructure catches up.
So AI is literally impacting zoning laws and climate debates today.
Right now. Today.
Okay, so if the output from baseline AI is becoming cheap, abundant, and super energy hungry, what's a strategic counterbalance? What becomes valuable again?
Craft. It's all about craft. The material suggests we're already seeing the start of a kind of second renaissance. People are just getting tired of the generic, mass-produced, slightly samey output from all these fast, cheap AI tools.
And how does that show up for someone building a product? What does that renaissance actually look like?
It looks like intentional craft and constraint becoming the new currency. The quiet, hard, deliberate work. That's where the real novelty is. If anyone can generate a logo or a bit of copy in 5 minutes, then the handcrafted thing, the bespoke digital experience, the slower, more considered UI that reclaims its premium value.
It signals quality.
It signals intent and quality, exactly.
Well, it's like a perfect transition from this macro idea of scarcity to the micro, to how AI is getting in the middle of commerce and changing roles like the product manager.
Yes, specifically, we have to talk about agentic AI in retail. These intelligent agents, they're becoming the new gatekeepers for shopping. They're completely redefining how a customer finds and buys something. The old way of just browsing a website is, it's being replaced.
The gatekeeper shift, I like that. So if an AI agent is doing the discovery, the comparison, the final recommendation, what does that mean for a brand that used to just rely on showing up high in a search result?
It means their customer relationship is being outsourced. Unless, and this is the key, unless the retailer acts decisively. Because what's crucial from what we're seeing, is that customers still trust an agent owned by the retailer way more than they trust some generic agent from an outside platform.
That's a really key distinction. They trust the brand they already chose.
Exactly. So the strategic imperative for retailers is just, it's intense. They have to focus on strengthening their own on-site experience, making sure their agent is the best one. They have to protect their data, their fulfillment. If they don't, they're just handing over the keys to the customer relationship to a third party.
And this whole shift applies directly to the product manager role itself. I'd see this pressure cooker environment for PMs right now. The amount of AI hype, all the shiny new tools, it's pushing them towards these quick technical fixes for really complex strategic problems.
Oh, it's absolutely a trap. We've seen PMs just skip essential qualitative research or, they rely on an AI to draft user stories based on internal data. They're skipping the things that require real human empathy and synthesis. The material is very forceful on this. Strong product work still depends on the fundamentals.
And what are those fundamentals, just to be crystal clear?
Clear thinking, disciplined strategy, getting everyone aligned, and most important, a deep, unbiased understanding of the problem you're solving. AI has to support that, not replace it. I mean, if you're just solving the wrong problem faster, you're still failing.
That reminds me of another concept they highlight, which I love the name of, farm-to-table software.
I think that name just captures it perfectly, right? It's the idea of using multiple specialized AI tools, like really high-quality ingredients, to build custom, handcrafted apps. Apps designed with extreme constraint and for a very specific purpose. The example they used was building a custom AI health coach.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, one that unifies all this disparate performance data, your sleep tracking, genetic markers, fitness results, to give you insights that no single generalist app ever could.
So you're using advanced tools not for scale, but for specificity, for uniqueness.
Yeah.
Which brings us to how we actually structure the building process. We have to look past these rigid, heavy structures because modern product development needs to be agile.
And that's where the governance conversation is so essential. Institutionally, a lot of companies just overuse these rigid projects and programs because they think that's what good governance is.
So they're just adopting these big, heavy projects out of habit, not because it's the right tool for the job.
Exactly. It creates so much unnecessary friction. You have these slow-moving gate reviews and procedural controls that were designed for, like, building a factory.
Right.
And they're trying to apply them to a fluid digital platform that changes every week. The time it takes just to get a sign-off can kill your competitive edge.
So what's the modern approach to that?
It's a completely different mindset. It's governance built around durable units, clear accountability, and adaptive risk management.
Okay, unpack durable units for us.
They're just the cross-functional teams that stick around. They own a specific customer outcome or a piece of the platform, and they don't just dissolve after a 3-month project is over. Governance there is about setting clear principles and auditing the outcomes, not checking a bunch of procedural boxes. It's governance by principle, not by template.
That flexibility is also critical when we talk about product planning. I mean, we've all been there. The planning paradox, right? You spend weeks on a detailed roadmap.
And 3 months later, it's useless.
Totally useless for predicting the future.
Yep.
The variables change way too fast.
They do. The plans fall apart. But the value isn't in the plan itself, the document. The material suggests the real value is in planning together.
So it's a process, not an artifact.
It's a process activity, exactly. Planning together builds the shared language, it establishes the decision points, and it creates the alignment your teams need to adapt quickly when not-if priorities shift.
Right. It's about building that shared context.
Yes. The teams that do this well treat planning as a way to build clarity and consensus, not as an attempt to predict next year's weather.
Shifting gears a bit over to leadership styles. I found the data on this fascinating. Based on observing over 2,000 product people, there are these really clear, recurring patterns.
They identified 3 main archetypes. You have the operator, who's all about execution and efficiency. Then the craftsperson, who focuses on quality and the perfection of the user experience. And finally, the visionary, who's driving disruption and shaping the future story.
And if you know which one you are, you know where to focus
Yeah.
and maybe who you need to hire to complement your style.
Exactly. And it helps clarify roles, too. The material makes a really simple but vital distinction that often gets blurred.
Which is?
Directors manage complexity, VPs shape direction. A director's job is to figure out how to sequence a complex feature rollout across multiple teams, minimizing risk. A VP's job is asking why that feature should even exist and aligning it to the company's long-term market position. They're totally different skill sets.
Okay, let's pivot hard now. Let's get into some strategic moves and some unconventional wisdom. I have to start with this piece of advice aimed at senior product people.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets really interesting. The idea is that once you reach a senior level director, VP, somewhere around there, you should counterintuitively stop reading product books.
Stop reading them. Wait, why? Why is getting smarter about your own discipline suddenly a bad thing?
Because your goal is no longer technical mastery. It's about getting a novel perspective. Growth at that level comes from studying adjacent fields that challenge your thinking, that break you out of the internal echo chamber.
You've already mastered the mechanics, so now you need new inputs from outside the bubble.
Precisely.
Okay, so give us some examples. Where should a senior PM be looking instead?
Well, they recommend looking deep into fields like behavioral economics or urban planning, even military logistics and strategy.
Urban planning. How does that help?
Think about it. How does urban planning inform systems design? How do lessons from supply chains apply to data pipelines? The insights from a book on city traffic flow might unlock a totally new approach to optimizing a SaaS workflow, an approach no product book would ever give you.
That makes so much sense. You need translation skills at that level. This applies directly to just, navigating the corporate landscape. Being memorable to senior executives, especially during planning season, is so important. The material gives 3 little secrets for that.
And it's not just about your quarterly reports. It's about creating positive, recent touch points. It's about sharing a concise highlight reel of what you've accomplished, tailored for them, and always showing gratitude for their input.
It's strategic communication.
Exactly. And sometimes what looks like a strategy problem is really just a communication problem. The material suggests that a lot of perceived misalignments between, say, engineering and marketing, it's often just people thinking in fundamentally different ways.
How so?
Well, some people think in very concrete terms, what are the next steps? Others think in highly abstract terms, what's the big vision? And collaboration just gets way better when teams learn to bridge those two styles. It's a translation problem, not a morale problem.
And finally, let's zoom out one last time to a huge physical change that these systems are enabling. One that's rewriting how we live.
We're talking about the growing role of robotaxis. And this is more than just convenience. The efficiency and accessibility of driverless cars are going to make suburban life far more convenient, narrowing that gap between the city and the suburbs.
Which creates a massive market
An
opportunity.
enormous one. Robotaxis are poised to create a larger, safer, and much more efficient transportation and delivery market. The thinking is that it could ultimately sideline human-driven services like Uber.
It's a fundamental structural change in mobility.
Driven by AI systems that can run 24/7 with much, much lower overhead.
Wow. So, if we tie all this together, what's the big picture here?
I think if we connect it all back, the strategy for building great products right now really relies on 4 pillars. First, demanding fresh intelligence, moving beyond the echo chamber. Second, balancing that with intentional craft and constraint. Third, prioritizing that adaptive governance we talked about. And fourth, making sure that you, the leader, are growing your perspective by looking at other fields.
Those are the levers.
Those are the levers for growth and success right now.
So here's the final thought. What does this all mean for the giants, the companies leading the AI charge? We know, for example, that a company probably needs a path to something like $500 billion in annual revenue to support a future trillion-dollar valuation. Subscriptions alone won't get you there. Even ads and commerce might not be enough to hit that scale. So given that pressure, what fundamental change in user behavior, beyond just search or simple transactions, has to happen for a single AI platform to genuinely reach a trillion-dollar valuation? What new form of economic activity has to emerge from all this? That's something to mull over.
A very provocative question.
Indeed. We encourage you to reflect on these concepts and how this new balance of scarcity and abundance applies to the products you build. Until next time.
Spoken Tech for your ears.